Well, a few weeks ago, Cale and I actually had met, and he had some options at the time, and one of them was Abbotsford. So we discussed what his thoughts were, and we had to give it a little bit of time to see how Abbotsford would respond. And obviously, they offered Cale the assistant coach's position. So then we definitely sat down and talked about who his next replacement should be, and Spencer's name was at the top of the list. And then after, obviously, when Cale's decision became public knowledge, all the resumes and phone calls started coming in, and that was very interesting, and it was very good to talk to some of the people who were interested in our organization.
To a lot of our fans, it seems like a very quick decision. Cale just announcing his position, moving up to the American Hockey League last week, and then of course Spencer today. But it went a lot longer than that. You wanted to make sure that you got a lot of those phone calls. Who are some of those people that you were talking to, and ultimately what went into your decision to hire Spencer?
Well, I talked to Ed Courtney. I talked to Brad Dexter. I talked to other guys who coached in our league, and I saw firsthand what Cale did last year, but I also saw firsthand what Spencer did and what he means to the organization. And then outside of the rink, Spencer does a great job in the community with the youth hockey program. He's a very hardworking individual. He was hard-nosed on the ice. I think he's going to be a pretty hard-nosed coach too. And I'm just real excited about his passion for hockey and his passion for the Stingrays organization, and to see what ultimately our team's going to look like in September and the product on the ice. I'm real excited.
A lot of fans wanted to see Ed Courtney or wanted to see Brad Dexter behind the bench. What separated Spencer from those two individuals?
Not getting into too specifics, I just think that after analyzing everything, and again, seeing what Spencer did last year, and seeing how he learned from Cale, and seeing how motivated and serious he was about the organization. A lot of people don't, see behind the scenes, and Spencer was at that rink just as long as Cale was every single day. So looking at him as a player, looking at what he did for us during his playing days, and he understands the organization. He understands what we're doing on the ice. He understands what we're doing away from the ice. He understands budgets. He understands what can be done and what cannot be done. So that's important in today's day and age. And I think that you're going to see a lot more organizations probably go to younger coaches who ultimately want to get to the NHL, because I think that's what fuels their passion, is the love of the sport. And the harder they work at this level, probably the quicker transition is going to be to the AHL or the NHL. I mean, it wasn't cut and dry that Spencer was the automatic candidate. There were a lot of interesting candidates. There were a lot of interesting, people with different types of resumes, from players to coaches to, all around the world. So I just think that Spencer's the best choice for our organization.
A lot of the media members, and Spencer admitted it himself during the press conference, that he was going to have a little bit of a different coaching style than Jared Bednar or Cale McLean. And was that something that also kind of helped your decision to bring in somebody that might bring a little bit more fire to the bench?
Yes and no. I mean, Spencer's different than Cale, and Fitzy's different than Jared, and I'm different than you. It's just, Spencer, after being around him for a year, just seeing his again, attention to detail. He's a hockey nut. He's always looking up players. He's always trying to get ahead of the game. He's trying to see who signed in this place. He has a lot of friends in the hockey world, where I think that he has a head start on getting players. And and again, I know people are worried about who we're signing, or if we're signing people. Cale and Spencer have been working extremely hard this summer, so we're trying to make this an easy and a quick transition, so we don't lose some of these players, but also to afford Spencer that time he needs to maybe adjust. I mean, it's almost August 1st, so it's an important time in the summer right now.